Hello, I thought I'd do a quick update on what's left of my stuff that's growing. Uh, I have officially given up on the bamboo seeds. Um, took all the containers for them out into the garage and just I'm going to let them sit there over winter. And when I get ready to plant seeds, I'll bring them back in the house, let them warm up, and plant different seeds in them. So that was the bamboo saga. Unfortunately, it didn't get a single sprout. Um, the one bamboo that's growing in the back will probably be fine over winter, and I'm probably going to get 4 or 5 more of them, assuming that there isn't any terrible trouble over winter with the one that I have. Um, and I'll finish my uh, wall of bamboo off that way. You know, start dividing them as I can and spread them out along that 70-foot stretch. So that's what's going on back there. Um, Dirt in my garden. You guys would laugh if you'd see it. I decided to take a little walk out into it after a big rain just to see how it was. The first spot where I had done most of the shoveling from was nice and solid, and then I got to the edge of it and wasn't really looking down anymore because I was like, oh, this is pretty good, and sunk all the way down to my uh, shin in quicksand. Pulled up, my shoe was gone. In the process, got my other foot stuck and walked out with loss of shoes and socks that I had to return with a shovel and salvage. So it was kind of it's not wet back there, but it's wet back there. So I have to see about making a better trench in the middle of it so it drains or something. Something's going to have to get that water out of there because uh, right now I don't see how that's going to be plantable in the spring if I don't do something because it's absolute mushy quicksand. Uh, anyway, I'm not dragging the stuff out of the refrigerator. I've got rose seeds, I've got apple seeds, and some other tree seed that's in there, getting their uh, winterization on. Um, we'll look at the plants real quick. That's still a rose of Sharon. It still has three and a, well, let's just call it three. That leaf finally gave up the ghost. But it's still got three perfectly healthy green little leaves. It has looked exactly the same as this since the day I put it in this little dirt pot. Um, it has shown zero sign of trying to or wanting to grow from its little spot at the top. Um, I have to assume that there's roots that have taken hold of some sort in here, but they haven't made it to the edges where you can see them yet. And I'm just going to let it keep going as long as it's green. I mean, it's been, what, 3 months that it's been in this little pot. Keep it moist. Still got moisture. It's not wet, not dry. It just is. Little tiny rose of Sharon. Okay. A lot of my roses died. Um, I probably have lost a couple more here. Um, this one here was from the insurance place. Had some nice looking buds, but its stem is now wrinkled and otherwise has not shown any signs of that bud. That looks really good. If you can see it, I don't know the best way to get it on the camera. You can see the bud on the end there. It still looks like a bud, still looks like it might grow. Underneath it isn't as wrinkled as the on top of, so I'm thinking I'm just going to keep it here and keep it moist a little longer and make sure it doesn't completely die, although the leaves that I kept on it have. This one here was from Daughter's Place. It too is losing leaves from the places that I had it keep leaves from. However, it's nice and green, so I'm going to assume that it's still in there doing its thing, hopefully starting to think about roots by now. And at some point these here leaves will fall off and the buds underneath them will start to grow. So that one's doing okay, hasn't died yet. This one was also from the insurance place. It looks like it. Yeah. I don't think I labeled it, but it's pretty well. Yeah, that nubbin's dead. It's dead back to the dirt. I can probably say this one's gone. I don't think it's going to do anything if I pull it up. Let's take a quick look. Oh yeah, that's pretty well wrinkled under there. There's no sign of rooting going on at all on that. That's unfortunate. I think I might have taken these sprouts too late in the year. Here, I mean, I did it weeks before the first snow, so there is no sign of actual root growth on that one. I'm going to call him dead. Put him here with the other dead ones. And we'll reclaim that spot for one of the extra ones. That would be these guys. This was the one I was so happy and proud of that had grown a stem out to about here when the little cat came along and knocked it over, and I didn't find it for half a day or so, and it had knocked its bottom loose. The dirt was loose. It came out of the dirt, and since then the stem shriveled up and died. It's changed colors. It's going purple from the bottom up, which is never a good sign. So I'm going to say that this one's probably dying just as well as the other one, which is very unfortunate because this was that really, really big pink flower from down the street that I was so happy to get a clone of, that I asked in the lady's house, hey, can I get a cutting of that? So I probably won't go back and ask again in the spring or whatever when it starts growing again. I'll probably just look for something in a garden center and grow that. Although I really look for own root roses over anything that's clone stocked for the roots. Yeah, this is just not doing nothing. So I unfortunately will put that one to rest as well. I'm very sad about that particular guy. Two more roses to look at real quick. This is from Dan and Kay's house. Its leaves have fallen off, but it's still nice and green all the way down into the dirt. It's got only just a little tiny bit of dieback up here, which is still above the first node, so it hasn't died through that node, and so that means it's still viable there. I don't see any drying or shrinking of the stem yet, so he's doing all right. You can graduate up to that pad. And this is the last one, also from Dan and Kay's house. It's probably the healthiest of them because the leaf um, on it is still at least partially green and feels alive. So it's still photosynthesizing a little bit. Um, it's not showing any other action at its nodes that are waiting to grow, but other than that, it's probably the best looking one of the bunch right now. Um, I do have the ones that I put in the water to see that if they would do anything. This one here is a attempted salvage from one of the ones that was knocked over. Um, and I am not sure if it is salvaging itself or not. Um, it might have some life left down here, but upwards it's shriveling to about that node there, although the node itself still looks alive, and there's another live node there. So I'm looking at the node below the water, and it's not really changing or doing anything yet. And this one had this is off of a cutting that had a larger stem part, so there's nothing going on there either. I'm just going to leave it in the water a little longer because while it was starting to shrink up, it's still, because it's in the water, seems to be getting enough water to keep the stem alive. Now this is the one I made the special edition about because I thought it was growing roots, and unfortunately I determined that those weren't roots. They really weren't. They were these two little tiny thorns, but there's a big thorn next to it, so I thought that those thorns were not thorns. However, this particular specimen still has a really nice node on it, which is still in the nice green level of the plant. So that has a good chance of still coming up. This here node that's underwater is starting to swell out, and that should be where the first roots come from, as well as that little node right there that is swelling out. They weren't that swollen before, so they seem to be alive. And so far, this water method seems to be doing the best out of all these things as far as keeping the stem alive long enough for it to grow. So that's the main gist of what's going on here. I still have all my, oh wait, I forgot about this guy here. This is hydrangea. I trimmed the hydrangeas out in the yard, and I planted this guy in what used to be my daughter's marigold pot. So we're going to see how it does in here. I haven't done hydrangeas before, but since I've put it in here and it warmed back up from being outside, this here's little bud, which was there, has doubled in size. So I don't know if he's thinking about growing. The stalk itself is decently green. There might be a little bit of browning here, but I'm keeping it out of the sun so it's not getting any more sunburn. Like, I believe that's sunburned up on the top. Let's see if I can get that. You can see the redness on that part of the stem. It might be getting too much sun outside. The only actual death growth from it is, or death on it, it's a little tiny bit at the end there that is dried since getting cut. Um, and the leaves themselves are shrinking away, but they still have what seem to be decent life in the stalk. I've got two buds down here, two buds here that seem to be starting to expand. And I'm just keeping this sucker moist and letting it go. And we'll see if anything comes out of that. If I can plant a new plant out of it, that would be wonderful. So that's that guy. I still got all, well, I'm down to 7 of them because I've doubled up a bunch of them to make extra room on this tray. But these are, but this bamboo sticks, I'm going to, I mean, they don't turn in the dirt anymore like they used to. They used to turn when you like, so there's something grabbing on down below the dirt level. You'll remember this guy right here. I dug out and showed the roots that were growing on it. So I don't want to do that again to him. I want him to just kind of go for it in whatever is going on down below on there. I don't know if I really want to do anything to any of them because, I mean, they might actually be growing, they might not. It's really hard to tell. I think I will, making the decision right now, let this one come up and give us a hint of what's going on. Let's let it talk to us. All right. Give it a little rinse off in the rosewater glass. Okay, let's see what we see here. And what do we see? Yeah, well, see all kinds of bulges. Bulges, bulges, and more bulges. And I swear when I look at spots just like right, I don't know if you guys can see it because this camera's not the best, but like right on top of my fingertip. If that's not a root bud of some sort, then I don't know plants at all. Something is, honest to gosh, trying to grow out of this 3.5-month-old cutting stick that just, for all intents and purposes, should be dead, but isn't because it's bamboo. So I'm going to stick her back in the dirt because who knows, come springtime, these little bulges and buds of that might be underground roots trying to grow might just decide, hey, conditions are right, let's go. So we'll see. I'll just use a stick of one of the dead roses to make a new hole here. I don't want to, and I really don't know if this rooting hormone does anything for this particular kind of stick. But since I got it and it hasn't killed it yet, douse it back up. And stick her back in. And see what happens. I really don't think I'm going to take any more of these out of the dirt until after spring is come and gone and see if they actually do anything. If they don't do something in the springtime, I'm never going to have a plant out of it. So I'm just going to see what happens in the spring with these guys. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you for listening. Next time I do a video will probably be when I go to plant seeds in February. So this is going to be it for this channel for a little bit, unless I decide to post me singing a song. We'll see. All right, take it easy. Have a good time.